Right, and then you take over. All right. So one,
Okay.
two, three, go.
Okay. You're welcome again, Francis, to
Yeah.
DevCongress Exchange. At long last, we have you.
Yeah. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. So that's like how many months ago?
I think it was. I don't remember actually. I think it was supposed. This was supposed to happen somewhere in November last year.
I think it was October rather.
Or October.
Yeah. Okay. So I think before we start, if you are part of the Hangout, if you are not talking, you should just mute your microphone. And then if you have questions, just there's a section for that. You should just post your question, and then we'll get to that section and we'll read the questions out. I think with that, we're already 15 minutes late into the program, so we just start right away. Okay, Francis. Yeah. So as we normally do, yes, the normal styles. Who is Francis? Who are we talking to? Maybe where you hail from? Just about yourself. Some little bit about yourself. People want to know
Yeah.
you.
So I think somewhere last week I was talking to Claude, and that was when he was actually trying to find out what I do daily, when what my job role or something like that. Yeah. Of late, I've been having problems with identity crisis. Yeah. I do a lot of things that when somebody asks me what I do, I'm not able to. I find it very difficult to actually even say what exactly I do. Yeah. That said, I consider myself a problem solver, but mostly I solve problems using software. I'm a software engineer. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's basically it. Then I've lived all my life, or most of my life, in Kumasi. I lived most of my life. That's where I had my education and things like that. So I went to Angel Educational Complex, the senior high, and from there, I continued to K University to study agricultural engineering. Yeah. So at K University, I wasn't actually into the program. I was just there, and so I couldn't use the excuse that I wasn't interested in the agricultural engineering program to just not do anything. So I decided to um, do what I'm actually interested in. And I realized that I was interested in working with computers. So I was spending most of my time studying things related to computers, computer science. So I think few times I joined some of my colleagues who were in the computer science class for some of their lectures. And most of the time too, I study on my own. And that was pretty much what I was using my vacation for. During long vac, I'll stay back on campus, use the library, use the ICT center to actually learn things that I'm interested in. And so first year, this my career started when I was in first year at university. Yeah. So first year, freshman, there wasn't a lot to do. I spent most of the time at the ICT center. So when that semester was ending, the ICT center they decided to do a course on web development and a whole other courses. So I was interested in. I mean, I saw their poster and they were saying they were going to teach you how to develop websites and things like that. So it was something that I was interested in because I was using websites to find information and things like do research and all that. I just wanted to know how it actually works, and I decided to take part in that training. Unfortunately, it didn't come on. So I then decided to take their poster. Then they had the syllabus, what they were going to teach on the poster. So I decided to learn all those things one after the other. So I started with the HTML, went to CSS, JavaScript, I find it very, very difficult to, study JavaScript. So I moved on. I moved on to PHP. Yeah, then later on came back to JavaScript. So that's how basically things have worked out for me. Yeah.
Oh, so if I get you, before university, you were not really into programming.
No, I was exposed to computers. I was doing hardware more. I had a friend. I didn't have a computer of my own. I had a friend who had a computer. So a desktop computer. I go. If you tell me that something is not working alright in there, I'll go. Pull everything apart. Then try fiddle around. And I try to solve the problem that he's having, and it works alright. So this computer was what I was using to play around. And sometimes I'll go to an internet cafe to see what's going on the internet. So that was up to that point. That was my exposure to computers was. That was I didn't actually know the concept of programming. I didn't know that I could actually tell the computer what to do and things like that. It was when I got to the university.
That's great. And then you did agriculture engineering,
Yep.
but you started most programming stuff from level 100. So how did that work? Combining that with your course, or you guys were doing programming stuff?
Oh no, we went. So I was actually doing that on my leisure times and times that I skipped classes and during the vacation, during vacations. So I was doing that alongside. So I didn't. I'm not really. I wouldn't say that I'm very social. I didn't used to involve myself in most of the social events going on campus. So those things, that time I'll sit behind my computer and try to learn a few things.
Okay, that's great. That's great. And then coming from let's say, I mean, that's like some how many years now since you started doing programming? So can you tell us how long that is?
So I think I've been programming since 2009. It goes as way back 2009. Yeah, that was when I actually started doing professional programming, like professional software development. Because I think my first it was 2008 when I started this whole thing and pretty much was learning and learning. So it was 2009 that I built a website that actually paid me money. So I'd
Can you
say
still, can you
2000.
still remember that?
Come again?
Can you still remember that website that you built? The website that your first website, your first
Yeah,
job.
it was. Yeah, it was a website for what nurses. It was a nursing training school or something like that. Yeah, I don't know where it is now. Yeah.
Nursing training school, that might be a big project.
Yeah, it actually came from a friend. So it was a friend of a friend, that sort of thing. And but it actually made me happy because I was doing something that I really love, and at the end of the day somebody paid me for it. So that was actually one of the things that pushed me to continue doing what I was doing because I figured that okay, I was onto something. So if I'm not really, I don't intend to practice anything agricultural engineering related, then this might probably be a career that I can pursue, something that I can make money from. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. So since you be program, you are so we be like you are self-taught programmer. That's what you
Yeah.
are. So
I
can you tell us some of your app, maybe some moment that you felt like, this is not for me. I should just stop. Or some moment that you felt like, yes, I'm on the right path. Let me just continue. What are some of those moments, those up and down moments?
Oh, okay. So um, when I started out, it was mostly up moments because the time that I was facing with challenge, the time that I was faced with challenges, I was enjoying actually, pursuing answers to those challenges or solutions to those challenges. So I wouldn't actually consider those times down moments, but in my career, what I would consider down moments up until now, actually um, my relationship with clients. Some clients they come your way for you to work on projects. you sign contract and everything kicks off. In the initial stages, everybody's happy about it, and it gets to a point the client is unresponsive, and it's hard getting some requirements or something that information that you need from the client to be successful with your work. So I think that's that doesn't make me happy, and because it just delays me on the work that I'm supposed to do. And the longer I stay on that project, it's not good for me. I'm not making money. I'm staying on one project for 6 months. It means that I'm not making money because even if the money is big, I can stay on that project and spend all the money. At the end of the day, I've done one project with no money in my pocket. So that doesn't make me happy. And I also remember I had a project. Like it was my first, it was my first big project. That one too also came from a friend. Who is in France. So he's a consultant. He's a software consultant in France, and he reached out to me on a project. So started the project, and everything was working all right. Then the client started becoming, responsive. You send an email, response is not coming. Then I also became adamant about working on it. I also moved on to other interesting opportunities. So I lost interest in that big project. I was really looking forward to, completing that project and establishing some cred, but it didn't work out. It was at the end of the day, I wasn't too happy. I wasn't too happy about how that project went, and how I might have made my friend look in front of his clients. My friend, I did understand that some of the challenges came from the client, but I'm not so comfortable with, you know, in my point of view, I've disappointed my client. I feel like I've put his credibility on the line, and it's something that I learned a whole lot from. Yeah, I've been careful since then. I'm careful on the kind of projects that I take on and the kind of people that I work with. Because, yeah.
Well, I think that's all about mine. What of your employers? I know you did some work for some companies. How did that go?
Yeah, so I mean, after a couple of years, doing this freelance, working as a solo, I just got tired. I just realized that okay, I need to be in a team because I wanted to um, exercise my team player skills. I just wanted to know how I play in teams, or how I just wanted to develop that skill, how to play well in working with other people on the same objective and things like that. So I decided to take a full-time job. I had to put freelancing on hold and take a full. So I took a full-time job as a UI UX or UX/UI engineer at Rankat Solutions. And Rankat Solutions, as most of you know, is a really good place to work. There are a whole lot of smart people there, and I was really enthusiastic about joining. Yeah, so I did join. I had a good time over there. It was time that okay, what I came to learn, I've learned. It's time to move on. So I moved from Rankad somewhere at the end of June last year. Yeah, I quit Rankad. So when I left Rankad, I came back to freelancing again. So now I freelance full time. I don't know whether I'm ever going to join any startup or organization. I actually do like working with startups than big corporations or enterprises and things like that. Yeah. I don't know as at now whether I would someday join another company or be on my own for the rest of my career. Yeah, I'm just I like to work on interesting problems and challenges, and feel like I'm contributing something to a bigger goal. Yeah, I'm not. I think now I'm past the point where you just sit there and be asked to do something. You're asked to do this, and you go ahead and do it. That doesn't interest me anymore. So I haven't had a whole lot of experiences with organizations in Ghana. It's only one. and it was a good one. It was a good experience. Yeah.
Oh, so you said you learned what you went to rank actually. What was the biggest thing that you learned at Rankad? What did you take away?
Okay, so Rankad, I learned a great deal from my bosses. I mean, the leaders, Kofi and Ehi, and one man, Ebo. They are really great people. They're all great engineers. Yeah, they they are they have the experience. Yeah, so there were times that they will come around, we talk, and they shared some powerful insights in software development and running a business. So, I mean, one of the reasons, or I'd say the major reason why I joined Rankad was to actually learn how to do professional software development and also how to run a software business. Yeah, I did learn a lot about running a software business, the challenges involved, and looking at my leaders from afar, I saw how they handled problems. I saw how uh, honest they were and how down to earth they were. And those are some of the things that I really learned from them. Most of the things that I learned from my leaders were actually, soft skills. And he is one, I don't know, he's very, very humble. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'd met somebody, yeah. I met him, there were times that he had that moment, but I really learned a great deal from them.
Okay, that's from the management point. What of your fellow engineers?
Yeah, yeah. So as I said, the engineers at Rankad were really solid engineers. Yeah, I did learn. I met a couple of interesting engineers, Francis Asante and Kweku Chando is uh, Robert. Yeah, they're all interesting guys, and I learned something from. So what I learned from some of these guys was how you have to personalize your development environment. If you're using an IDE, most of the time will be spent in your IDE. So you have to actually know your IDE, be able to use the debugger to do a whole lot of things. So and we had a when I was we had a VP of engineering. He too was very skilled. He had he had worked at Microsoft for 16 years, and when he came to join the team with whole new perspective, with new technical practices, and so I think what I learned from that experience was how you have to know your debugger as a developer because that makes you effective and efficient. I mean before that I'd write code then spread print statements all over the place just to debug. But I was taught that okay, when you're using it's a debugger available in your ID or wherever you get it, you spend less time actually. You spend less time on debugging, and most of the time the code that you end up with are efficient and they are performant to some level.
Oh, okay. So if you're part of this, we have a Slack channel, slack.devcongress.org. You can join that and you can pick up conversation from there. And we have some questions over here. I think one, Francis, let me read maybe one or two to you. One coming from Elon. So, what was your most embarrassing moment working as Rankad?
Embarrassing moment at Rankad. I think there was I built an application and it's think about it is even funny. Yeah, so I worked on an application and it had some a part or a functionality where you upload images and other data. And on my machine, the thing works alright. And on the sandbox environment, the thing works alright. It gets to staging and production and it doesn't work. Can't remember, it's not like 2 days. I spent like 2 days investigating that, and it turns out it wasn't my code. It was actually the firewall settings imposed by the ops team. Yeah, so when I got tired fiddling around, and I think it was Katie who mentioned that okay, maybe it's probably firewall issue. So I went to the ops team and sat down with the platform lead, and he actually confessed that it was a firewall issue. So I had to reconfigure that I have to use local IPs when they were in those environments. Yeah. And that actually gave me an insight on this whole DevOps thing. Yeah, because if developers and operation guys decide to work together, businesses meet their objectives, and we spend less time on things that you shouldn't really spend much time.
Okay, that's so that was a learning moment
Yeah,
and an embarrassing moment as well. From the beginning, it was embarrassing. At the end, you did learn
yeah,
something out of it. Okay, so quick one from Andrew. At what age did you decide that this is a line of work you want to do? At what
Oh,
age?
I don't know. How old was I when I was in the university? It was actually way back 2009. I don't know how old I was. I can't do the math now. Yeah, but it was in the university.
Okay, you said that earlier on. That's from the beginning of your university days. Okay, so your choice of currently I understand you are a DevOps, so or that's your strength. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So I would say I'm a full stack dev, and so this whole concept of DevOps is jargon anyway. People throw it around all the time. And so what I do is more like full stack. So I start development from the front, the back, to the middle, to the whatever. Yeah, and I do because I work solo, or most of the time, most of the projects that I've done, I did it on my own. I do all these things, make sure that the application is in production and is working as expected. I mean, the client is happy and everything. Yeah, before I say that okay, I've done my job. So I've taken the ops work. I've added it to the work that I do. Yeah, so that's the whole reason why sometimes I do call myself a DevOps engineer. Yeah.
Okay, so you do the development and take the ops, and
Yes.
so you combine the two.
Yes. So both of them.
So you are just a full stack developer.
Yes.
Okay, so this is coming from you, formerly Mauli. What are some of the interesting things going on in the DevOps space?
Well, personally, what's interesting for me is the amount of automation that I can do. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of things going on, like infrastructure as code, where ops guys write code to do deployment and orchestration, infrastructure orchestration and things like that. Yeah. So what I love mostly about that whole aspect is the automation bit. Yeah. I know there are a whole lot of things going on in the DevOps community or space. I what I am more focused on is the automation, the amount of automation that you can do with the tools available to you, with configuration management and things like so. You get to use Chef, Puppet, and things like that to deploy code and manage your infrastructure and things like that. So I do like there's been tremendous progress in deployment strategies and you know IT infrastructure orchestration and yeah, basically those sort of things.
Oh, okay. So as of now, what's your favorite maybe tools? Which favorite tools do your fancy tools, as you will put it? Which
Yeah,
fancy tools do you use?
I don't know whether they are fancy or something, but I use Queen a lot. I use Queen a lot on the servers. Man. When I'm working on the server, I use Queen a lot because from the part of world that I am, I don't really have reliable internet. And my internet can go off at any time. So if I'm working on a file remotely or if I've started a process that if I'm doing some configuration, anything like that, on a remote server, I attach myself to a screen and open a screen session where I do most of the things. Yeah. So that one, if I lose internet connection, locally, whatever I was doing is just there waiting for me, just sitting there waiting for me. And when I get back online, I can go and continue from where I left off. So screen is one tool that I use a lot, and I also, I think some time back, it's been a while since I used Fabric. I also use Fabric. It's a Python tool that helps you with automation and tasks. So you write tasks. It could be deploying software. It could be running unit tests. Anything that you want to automate. Yeah, then it takes just do it. You type a command, then it does it for you. So you write the script, the task, and you invoke a command and it works out for you. So I've I've done deployment scripts. I have deployment scripts that helps, and also have a continuous integration server that helps me with continuously testing the code that I write and checking to version control and at some point deploy it. Yeah. So those are some of the things, and well, yeah, I think those are some of the things that come to mind.
Oh, okay. I think later on we share the tools in our Slack community.
Okay.
So watch out for those tools. Okay. So your favorite text editor, which one do you care to? And your team, people like white, people like black.
Yeah. So depending on where I am, if I'm working remotely on a remote server, I go for Vim. But when I'm on my laptop or my desktop or anything, I don't really, I use Sublime, and it also depends on the programming language that I'm using. I use um, IntelliJ, I use PHP Storm, I use WebStorm. Yes, most the IDE from the IDEA guys. Yeah.
So it just brings most of their products.
Come again?
Use IDs from JetBrains mostly.
Yeah. So JetBrains, their IDEs. Yeah.
Okay. So, and I think we are going to the next section, which is more about the exchange, the name. You have to tell, like, show us something.
Yeah.
Let's demonstrate some trick.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that's the section we are now. After that, we'll be taking the questions. Some of the questions are still here, so we can keep posting them. After this section, we go to the questions.
So this is the part where I share my screen.
Yeah. So far, we've been talking about you. It's all about you. So now you are coming to demonstrate something to us. So if you just joined, this is eXchange, and we've been talking to Francis. Francis is a developer. So if I started development just from when you entered the university, that's when he started serious development, and that was like 2009. That's when he got his first professional contract, if I may put it that way. And I think that's impressive. And so far, he has worked for only one company, that's Rankard. And apart from that, the rest is just freelance. I think he likes riding solo. Yeah. So he's looking ahead to maybe joining some company. He uses a lot of tools, and mostly, I think his profile online is about DevOps. He took a time to explain that today. He does the development, and apart from just developing the software for you, he helps you deploy the software and other necessary stuff to make sure your software is up and running. He doesn't just write codes. So we are on to the next session. He's about to show us something nice, something interesting. You can see some code here.
Yeah.
Okay, Francis, we are ready.
One thing is I've actually stopped writing monolithic code. So you have one large code base where everything happens in there. Yeah, I haven't had pleasant experiences with those things or that way of architecting applications. So I've stopped, or I've disciplined myself enough to say, okay, once you start doing things that are considered large, or you consider large, or an application with many moving parts, you have to break it into components or services. And now even the microservices architecture makes this, it's taking this mainstream. It's the whole community is forming around it, so it makes my life easy. Yeah, and I think when you decide to decouple your services or decouple the application that you write, it saves you a lot of hassle. And I think I learned that the hard way, because I don't just develop software and give it to other people to maintain or keep it in production and things. I do all those things myself. So I come to the table with the insight that what those people go through when they are keeping the application in production. When the app is in production, you have to take care of logs. How do you take care of logs? You have to maintain application instances and things like that. So depending on how you write your application, you're going to either make ops guys life difficult for them, or you're actually going to make their life easy for them. And because I am the same person, I want to make my life easy everywhere. So if writing code, I want to make my life easy. I also want to make my life easy in production. Yeah. So yeah, I have an application that it's I no long ago I did a project with um some other two developers here in Ghana. Yeah,
Okay.
who working with a startup in Canada. Yeah, so we recently worked on a project that actually gathers market data from cryptocurrency exchanges, and we'll do whatever the hell we want to do. Yeah. So today I want to just demonstrate how you can take that sort of concept, that idea of getting data from some place, doing whatever you want to do with that data, and yeah. So it's an application that is broken into three parts. There's a part where um, the application just sits there and collects data from external services. So the exchanges that we're working with. Let me start the app here and show what
Okay.
I'm talking about. So
Yeah, I think that was.
so so I'm just going to start the app quick over here. I have let me use the Python simple.
Like your terminal.
Yeah, thanks.
Do you have
Yeah,
your dot file somewhere?
yeah, I have a dot file.
Yeah. Yeah. So anybody want to see how he does his stuff, maybe you can check his dot files.
Yep. So
Okay, so if you're listening, currently what is going on is Francis is trying to show us an app he has built. And okay, I think we are there now.
yeah, so this is the app, and now is not available. Like there isn't, because the other parts of the app aren't online. So we're getting there.
Okay.
So I'll start the other parts. So okay. So basically, what's happening here is I have an app that just sits there and collect data from two exchanges, OKCoin and Bitstamp. These are two cryptocurrency exchanges. They basically uh, trade in digital coins.
Oh,
So now what I'm doing, I'm just um, showing the BTC and the USD pairs. So how USD is trading against BTC. So Bitcoin, if you had one Bitcoin, how much is it worth as of now? So when you go to OKCoin, based on the data that I'm getting from there, you know that you get $384 dollars for your Bitcoin, and on Bitstamp you have this. So if you are in trading or if you want to sell your Bitcoins, you definitely go to OKCoin because you know that over there it's worth more. Yeah. But I just want us to shift our attention from the intricacies of this whole Bitcoin stuff. For demo purposes, I'm just going to talk about how these three applications complement each other or work.
oh,
So I have one component that sits there and collects the data, and another component that visualizes the data, and the third component actually just takes the data and persists it in Mongo. So you collect the data from an external source, and you want to save that data. So this is more like a data pipeline. Yeah. So
oh.
this is the UI bit. So let me bring the code up.
And this was developed using Node.js.
Yeah, it's Node.
Okay.
So the UI bit doesn't really have any Node stuff in there. It's just HTML and JavaScript. It's the data collector and um, the Mongo, the other part that persists the data persistence layer that uses Node.js.
Okay.
Okay. So over here, yeah, so over here I have this Node.js application that basically sets up a server, and this server is just a WebSocket, server. I'm actually not using the HTTP part of it. I'm just uh, uh, using an HTTP server, and so instead of using WebSocket protocol WS or WSS, I decided to use HTTP. So if you want to connect to this WebSocket server, you will still be able to use HTTP. So that's what this part is all about.
Okay.
At some point, I wanted to use Express, but I didn't use it. So you can actually ignore that. Well,
Just
actually,
press.
yeah. Yeah. So what's happening over here is when um, so on when a client connects to the WebSocket server,
Yeah.
and that's what the UI is actually doing. Yeah, it connects to this server. So once it connects to it, it just starts pushing data to it. So when I go to, I have these exchanges, and the exchange is Bitstamp, for instance. So I'm using a package that does most of the interfacing with Bitstamp. So over here, I just construct a new Bitstamp object and listen on the trade activity. So what the Bitstamp WebSocket server, the API, allows me to do is to they have an event. They have a trade event. So I listen on the trade event, and when there is a trade, I just get the data that I want from that event, and I will emit it. The emission part of it is I just push it down to whoever is listening. So
Also broadcasts.
yes, so in pops up, lingo, you see that this is the publisher. So
No.
you see these providers are publishing their data to whichever listening service. So over here, I just the data that I got from the exchange, I just emit it so that um, clients that have subscribed to this um, application or this WebSocket server actually get that data and do whatever they want to do with it. So it's the same tool for OKCoin. So I do similar thing to OKCoin. I'll get the data from there, and at the end of the day, emit that data to whoever is interested in. And yeah, it just automatically load or require these exchanges. It's not quite that interesting. So, and this code is available on
GitHub.
GitHub, so later on you guys can have access to it.
Yeah. So
And yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so if I get this, so I think what this does is it's in different parts. So the exchanges, so you can easily add another exchange to it.
Yes. So the other exchange is a matter of just dropping that exchange here and implementing it whichever way or however that the API dictates. And at the end of the day, emitting this, uh, publishing this data. That's just it.
So you just have a unified way of notifying that. So you just have to. So I can see the MD over there. So
Yeah.
it's
So
only
that's
the data you must send to
yes.
the. Okay. So I'll process the exchange.
Yeah. So it just sends that some data to the pipeline. So I actually have a dummy implementation over here. So uh, you know there are some times that you can't connect to the service.
Okay.
So I have a dummy implementation where I just generate some random data and it simulates that whole process. So over here you see that I also emit whatever data that gets generated. And I only have provider and the close data over here because that's what I'm using on the front end and that's what I'm persisting. Yeah. So I think at some point I will uncomment this one and it will just basically demonstrate a noisy, data pipeline. It will just because this one is going to go for every second. It would happen that you're getting data from the exchange every second, which is it's possible. It's really possible. It's quite noisy if you're looking at it. So that's the collection part. Do you have any question you want to?
Yeah, I think that's interesting. So this code is on GitHub. I'll send a link to the Slack channel. So I think over here, anybody who wants to use this code, I think we now understand how it works. So anybody can go back to it. And so, but I have a question from Andrew over here, Andrew Smith. So
Okay.
this is a question. With your microservices, do you normally start everything from scratch, or do you have a folder structure that you use?
Oh, okay. So sometimes I do start from scratch. That's when I don't have. I'm not going to do much. Like for instance, this application. With most of the projects that I work on, in projects that are bound to end up in production to make somebody money, I have a framework or a bootstrap project that I use, and it's actually is been configured or has boilerplate for configuring applications for production environment. So I don't always start the project from scratch. I have a boilerplate. It's Node Bootstrap. Yeah, it just bootstraps my Node.js project for me, and I go in and modify what I need to modify, and I'm off. Yeah.
Okay. So that's it. So I think that makes your work easier.
Yes. Because there are so many things that you write over and over and over. And I mean, it's not worth it. It's not worth that you write something over and over. That's the whole point of the automation. So somebody has sat down to automate that whole process to take away the boilerplate code that you need to write. Then you just get to the meat of your project.
Okay, so I want to ask. So without without using the message passing or using sockets, how else would you have gone?
Okay, so the other route you could have gone to is to use a message queue. So there are message queues like RabbitMQ, Instock, yeah, Ion, yeah. I think there's Ion MQ too. There's Zero MQ and things like that. So instead of without when you don't want to use socket WebSocket, you can also go that route where you have message queues. You just push messages in there and they're ready for consuming clients to make it. So you have a producer that just produces the messages and ends up in some sort of a broker, depending on which message queue that you're using. It ends up there, then ready to be picked up by another part of your application. So that's another route to go for in-service communication when you're doing this.
Okay. I think that's so. Thank you so much for this. I think that brings us to the end of this part. You showed us a code. So this is like demonstrating the microservice architecture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
modular.
yeah. So it's not really that complex. Just a decoupled way of architecting your application. I mean, when you're starting out, it would seem challenging, but it's worth it. It's worth to decouple your applications and to make a monolith. Putting all of them together, and at the end you have a giant application, and everything is so coupled together. And in production, things breaks and it takes the whole thing down. I mean, all sorts of things.
Okay,
So
thank you so much.
we can move to the other components, the UI and the persistence part. So the UI, I just have an HTML file with all these markup, and there's a JavaScript file that actually does the work. So it's using so what's special in the HTML file is I use this library, the socket.io library. That's what I'm also using on the server too. On the server, I'm using the socket.io library over here. Then on the client, I use socket.io client. So I connect to the server, and so this is a consuming client. Anytime that I publish a message on the server, I'm listening for that message on the client over here. So whenever I receive market data events, I go ahead and do all these fancy things, and that's what ends up with that UI I showed earlier.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Okay, and the persistent part. Okay, you have a question?
No, go ahead.
Okay, the persistent part just yeah, that also uses a WebSocket client and Mongo to interface with Mongo, and I get my client over here and listen for that same event that I was listening to in the HTML file. I listen for market data messages, and whatever data is passed to me, I make use over here, and so that data gets persisted in Mongo at the end of the day.
So how easy is it to swap the Mongo for something else?
Come again?
Is that easy to swap the persistent layer?
Is it easy to start the persistent layer?
To change the persistent to the Mongo, maybe use something else, different data, persistent.
Oh, okay. So if I understand you correctly, so what I have done currently is coupled to Mongo. You can't swap. You can't have hot swap another persistent layer. You'd have to do that implementation and also listen for that event. So you can actually drop in an implementation, say Postgres. You use Postgres SQL, then you listen for this event. Then whenever an event like the market data event is emitted, you just do whatever you need to do specific to Postgres. Yeah. So you can actually you can actually have Postgres, implementation of Postgres, MySQL, and once this data comes in, you go ahead and do that storage.
Okay. So I think the code is available on GitHub. We can continue the conversation
Yeah.
on Slack channel. So people want to go through the code. Maybe you want to ask Francis some question about the code, or you want to understand something clearly. I think our Slack channel will be a nice place to continue the conversation. I can see people are ready to start some conversations. So that's nice. So let me take some, let's say, 2 questions, and then we'll be done over here. Okay, so this is coming from Mabel Blankson. So at what point do you intend putting a stop to your programming career, and what would be the next course of action? What would be the next course of action?
I don't know. I don't know when I'm going on retirement. Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to answer that question. I haven't actually thought about when I'm going on retirement, but I know definitely at some point. I, I don't think I'll be writing code at age 60. Yeah, but I expect that I would be writing code. I don't know, in my 40s. Yeah, in my 40s, shouldn't be writing code so much.
Okay, so let's say 40. So let's say from between 40 and 60, that's what you're targeting.
Yeah.
Okay, from
But
Andrew.
around that time, I'll probably be consulting.
Okay, consulting. So, but do you plan building currently you just do freelance, do you plan maybe building a startup or some company, or you didn't really plan?
Oh yeah, so I have a consulting company that I'm working on, and so I'm really interested in cloud applications. Yeah, so 5 years down the line, I'm looking to start consulting in cloud applications, um, deploying um, cloud infrastructure and building, actually training people or consulting on building distributed
Systems. Oh. So, what's your role model in the tech scene? That's from Andrew. Your role model. Who do
My role
you
model.
look up to? Yeah.
Okay, in Ghana or everywhere, anywhere.
Anyway, the tech scene, not just Ghana.
Okay, so I would say Uncle Bob. Yeah.
Okay. So, what do you find
And
interesting?
most of the folks at ThoughtWorks, the older principals there.
Okay, so that's you like ThoughtWorks.
Yes.
Okay. So, where do you see Ghana in the next 5 or 10 years with regard to technology, the tech scene?
Yeah, I see. I want to, in the next 5, 10 years, I want Ghana to be on the map. I want Ghana to be on the map where we say that okay, when you want to, like, I want to see startups springing up from Ghana, and when it comes to professional software development, people would want to come to Ghana for software to be developed for them, and not so cheap. Yeah, many people bring software projects down here to cheapen the whole industry. They think that okay, the fact that they've come here means that things should be cheap. But the way I work, I I consider standards very serious, and I don't benchmark myself. I benchmark myself to everybody in the world. I follow people, key people in the industry, and I learn from them. So, and I expect that most of the developers in Ghana do the same. Like, if they want to uh, make this a career, if they want to have a career in software development or information technology, expect that they devote some time, some seriousness to the industry and learn things. And so it's when the people or when the community has that mindset to actually be the best or be among the best, to follow best software practices, to develop professional software, then when people come down here for software to be developed, and they respect that. They expect that okay, we follow standards and things like so. At the end, the quality software comes out of Ghana. So 5 years, 10 years, I expect that professionals in the industry will be disciplined enough and will be professional enough to not just deliver any software, but a software that does what is expected to do and is of good quality.
Nice. I think we want to see you now, so you should stop sharing the screen.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, a follow-up question on your, I think in the Ghanaian tech scene, who do you look up to, like in terms of developing software?
Okay. I mean, I have friends. I can't possibly name all of them. There are guys that I look up to, guys like Alfred Rowe, then Komoji, and Anthony. He calls himself Tony Mofta. He's a really cool guy. Yeah, a couple of guys. Yeah, Yabuachi. Yeah. And I started out with this guy. I started out with Yao back at school. We both two true one guys. Yeah, we were troublesome back in the day. Yeah, and I'm glad where he's gotten to. He's very knowledgeable. He has deep knowledge in the industry, and I expect that. So the point that I was making earlier on, I expect that most people will have that sort of appreciation for software development and I mean, computers, well, not really computer science. I don't know so much about computer science concepts, but with deep knowledge and deep appreciation for software development, professional software development, like somebody, I mean, I know Yabuachi has demonstrated that, okay, he has deep knowledge, whatever topic that comes up, that has to do with computer programming or software development. I expect that majority of us, aspire to actually learn, be intimate with our career. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, so this is coming from Prince G. Can you give us guidelines on becoming freelancers? And what do you think is the best, becoming a freelancer or joining a software company?
It depends on what stage of the career you are. So guides on becoming a freelancer, I, I don't know. I don't know. So I sort of naturally became a freelancer. I was there with friends who pass down projects to me. I'll be talking to somebody and he said, okay, I have this idea I want to work on. Yeah, that's how I basically start. So I've mostly worked with people who have ideas and they're starting out, and it could be successful. It couldn't. I mean, it has a high tendency to fail. I've worked on projects that have failed, and I've worked on projects that have been successful. Yeah, so you have to just listen to the people who are close to you. Maybe they have problems that they want to solve. You listen, then you offer to help them, with technology or yeah, with your skill set. That's how everything. So you work on a project for someone, the person is happy with it, then the person can recommend you to other people, and that's how you move up in your freelancing career. Yeah, that's one. That's personal experience. That's how things have turned out for me. And the other part of the question was,
So
can you help me with the other part of the question? Yeah.
so the question was the whether you advise being a freelancer or working on your own, and how do you start maybe being a freelancer? Any advice on being a freelancer?
Yeah, so you can join a company right after school to learn how to develop software and follow people's lead. Yeah, and that could be a very good career path for you. You can do that and years down the line decide to go freelance. There's nothing stopping you. You can also decide to start developing software once you're in school. You're learning with your computer science student, you have a great opportunity ahead of you. You don't only end up in beyond I don't know whatever you don't forget about whatever you are taught in class, but you actually go beyond the classroom and practice whatever you've been taught. And I've come across people who have done that. in Baka University, the people Godwin Amefia and Ronald Tego. I mean, they were computer science students, and Rashida too. They were computer science students, and they actually took it a step further. They have built companies out of what they do. So there isn't one way there isn't one way that you follow to become a freelancer. You just do what is available to you or is comfortable. So you don't have an excuse to say that okay, I didn't get any company to join, so meh, I just be there. If you don't get a company to join to do software development, learn on your own. It's possible for you to study things on your own. And I've been helping people. People reach out to me, they are starting out to learn and they need help, they need guides. So I help them with hard things worked out for me. I basically had to develop my own syllabus to study to become competent at what I do. So I help them, I mentor them on some things that has to do with programming and software development. Yeah. So what I can say is you should just look out for people who are already in the industry, reach out to them for help. Yeah. What is trying to do some things on its own. You should just show initiative.
Okay, so everybody, so if you are here, I think you like helping people, and I just want to announce again that you're almost always on the Slack channel. So if somebody wants some personal help or something, they can just reach out to you. So the channel again is, if you want to join this, just go to slack.devcongress.org, slack.devcongress.org. That's slack.devcongress.org. So I think that's all time could allow, but one final one. So I think it's, as a developer, what do you do for fun? 2 days more for Valentine. So are you taking your girlfriend out or what's happening?
People are starting to get personal here.
So we just want to see the other side of maybe Francis. It's not all about coding, chasing clients. You have some personal life too.
Yeah, I do have a life. I'm a programmer with a life. Yeah. So I mean, most of my life is spent indoors anyway. So I like to watch movies. Yeah, I have a couple of series that I watch. It's not actually movies, but TV series. Yeah. I do watch Elementary. I watch How to Get Away with Murder. I mean, those kind of TV series. I find them interesting. Some of them, the story in the how people solve problems. With Elementary, for instance, how Sherlock Holmes solves problems and where he starts from and things like that. It just fascinates me. It just pushes me to do more and work hard at solving problems. Because if you can solve problems, you can bring value to people who require your services and things like that.
So that's still indoors. You don't like going out.
Yeah, indoors. Yeah, occasionally I do go. I think I can count the number of times that I've been to the beach. I think about three times. Yeah, all the times that I've been in Accra, like about 2 years now, I've been to the beach about 3 times. Yeah, but I have other places that I do go. I don't go out a lot, but sometimes I do go out.
Okay, and you are programmer with a life. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so.
That's what I say.
So thank you so much, Francis, for making the time to do this.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
so we are having this. So Dev Congress Exchange happens every month. So if you want to join us, you can join us every month. We announce it mostly in our Slack channel, and then you can after here. I think Francis is still available in a Slack channel. People are waiting for him. I know people are itching to ask him some questions.
Yeah, people have questions.
Yeah. So
is there to ask questions.
yeah. So the most interesting. This one is just something. The most interesting conversations happen in the Slack channel. So slack.congress.org. That's where most of the convo will happen after this. So thank you once again, and thank you everyone for joining. So see you next time.
Thank you for hosting.
So let's continue the conversation again in Slack. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.